Hello, welcome back to our monthly Tech Trends Update. We saw increased volatility and a sell-off in the technology sector, which created an opportunity to enter many of the technology companies, especially for those with strong earnings growth visibility. Some of the volatility was due to macro news, but it also happened because of the weaker earnings for the second quarter and growing skepticism about AI. The macro news included a weaker U.S. July jobs report and the Bank of Japan, which increased interest rates, which caused the yen carry trade to unwind that had probably supported technology shares. This fear abated as the Bank of Japan calmed markets afterwards, and the July U.S. retail sales and Walmart earnings reassured investors that U.S. growth is not in recessionary territory. In our view, investors with longer-term time horizons should use these sell-offs as an opportunity to buy high-quality technology companies, as we are only a year and a half into the AI cycle. We have had and continue to have the technology sector as an overweight in our market monitor, where we express our sub-asset class views. Regarding earnings season, Alphabet started out with better results in their core search business, but YouTube missed expectations and capital spending was higher and is expected to continue to be higher. Tesla results were weaker due to lower margins. Next, Microsoft had slightly weaker results in their Azure cloud business and had elevated capital spending and guided to higher spending going forward. Meta reported earnings that were cheered by the markets as earnings and guidance beat expectations. They also discussed higher capital spending going forward. Lastly, Amazon and Apple were the last two to report earnings, with Amazon disappointing on guidance as they are taking a more cautious stance on consumer spending due to the Olympics and the US elections, while Apple had better results and guidance. The big theme from earnings was that companies plan to spend more to build out their AI infrastructure, and capital spending will be elevated in the near term. This should be good for the infrastructure companies, which include the semiconductor sector and NVIDIA, which reports earnings at the end of August. NVIDIA is a large holding in the AMS equity that we added to in the market sell-off. Despite the good results from Apple, the shares were volatile as Berkshire Hathaway disclosed that they sold around half of their stake during the second quarter. This was a significant change, as it is by far one of their largest holdings, and Berkshire increased their already large cash pile. We discussed this change and many more in our quarterly 13F report, where we review what large funds bought and sold each quarter, which must be filed by funds due to regulatory requirements in the US. We got this month a landmark antitrust case in the US where a judge ruled that Google has been operating an illegal monopoly in their search business and has engaged in anti-competitive practices such as paying billions to Apple to be the default search engine on their devices. This could have implications for Google, as they could be forced to break up the company, and it could mean lost revenues for Apple, although this process will take time as the company plans to appeal the decision. Lastly, cybersecurity company Crowdstrike botched their update of their popular Falcon cybersecurity platform. This caused outages for many companies. As an example, it took Delta Airlines days to get their operations back to normal, and the disruption cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. CrowdStrike will have to deal with the repercussions from this mistake, and the share price corrected around 40%. We thought the sell-off was overdone and added the stock to our watch list of our top picks report and AMS equity. Earnings results in the near term could still be choppy, but we think the long-term prospects are good for the company. Looking ahead, the news flow should be quieter as we are mostly through earnings season. NVIDIA reports earnings on August 28th, which will be the biggest event for the sector. On the macro front, we will have the annual Federal Reserve Jackson Hole Economic Symposium, where global central banks will be meeting, and could give us clues on future interest rate cuts. At the end of September, we will have MetaConnect 2024, where the company will announce new products and their continued AI strategy. Thanks again for joining us to learn about some recent trends in the technology sector. We look forward to speaking to everyone again next month.